Welcome all of you this afternoon here to the Blessed Stanley Rother Shrine as the church celebrates the 45th anniversary of his martyrdom. Here at the Blessed Stanley Rother Shrine, place where Blessed Stanley has been laid to rest and is interred in the chapel, this day, this optional memorial is observed as a solemnity. Pull out all the stops. It's a joy to welcome all of you and to have so many here with us this afternoon on a Tuesday, which is a bigger crowd than we're accustomed to for Tuesday afternoon. And yet it's a joy to have so many people who have come to honor the memory of our saint, our blessed, our martyr, Blessed Stanley Rother. All of you have some connection with Blessed Stanley. I know there are some family members here whom I see. Many of you perhaps are fellow parishioners, maybe are friends. Maybe you're just men and women, young and old, who have discovered the attractiveness of this authentic witness who is Blessed Stanley Rother. I want to acknowledge one important visitor today. He's my classmate from seminary, but that's not why he's important. Bishop Ed Burns, the Bishop of the Diocese of Dallas. Bishop Burns and I were seminarians at Mount St. Mary's Seminary at the time of Father Rother's death. We remember that time well, and who would have imagined that 45 years later, we would be gathered here in this setting to honor the life and the witness of this ordinary martyr, this parish priest, this farmer, this missionary from Okarche, Oklahoma, who laid down his life in witness to Jesus Christ. Today is an important day, certainly because it is Blessed Stanley's feast day. It's a day of surprises, the first of which for me was to wake up to an email that contained a special message from the White House. I don't know if you've seen it or heard about it, but the White House acknowledged this day in honoring the 45th anniversary of the death of Father Stanley Rother. I didn't know we were on their radar screen. Well, what a tremendous honor it is for the church, for Oklahoma, for our nation, to have this distinction and this recognition of this ordinary martyr, this parish priest, this missionary martyr, Blessed Stanley Rother. One of the privileges that I had as Archbishop as we were preparing for the beatification of Blessed Stanley Rother was to select the readings and the prayers for the liturgy that would honor this feast day. And the reading that I selected for the office of readings, which those of you who are priests or religious or maybe lay faithful who read the liturgy and pray the liturgy of the hours have prayed this reading for the second reading from the memorial of Blessed Stanley Rother. It comes from the writings of St. John Paul II. In his Wednesday audiences, he had a series, a catechetical series on priesthood. And from one of those audiences in 1993, the Holy Father, St. John Paul II, wrote, "This is the commandment we have from him. Whoever loves God must also love his brother." I go on, in the words of St. John Paul, speaking of himself, Jesus describes this love as that of a good shepherd who does not seek his own interest, his own advantage, like a hired hand. He notes that the good shepherd loves his sheep to the point of giving his own life. This is a love to the point of heroism. We know to what extent this was realized in the life and death of Jesus." End quote. My brothers and sisters, we also know how this was lived in the life and death, the witness of the missionary martyr from Oklahoma, Father Stanley Rother, who loved even to the point of death. After serving 5 years as a parish priest here in the Diocese of Oklahoma City and Tulsa, he volunteered, as you know, for the diocesan mission, the Oklahoma Catholic Mission in Guatemala. He arrived in 1968, turbulent time in our nation, turbulent time in the church, a turbulent time throughout the world. But in going to Guatemala at that time, Father Rother, in a certain sense, found himself, found his vocation. He had been content as a diocesan priest serving here in Oklahoma. But it could honestly be said that when he arrived at Santiago Titlan at the parish of St. James the Apostle, that he blossomed, he bloomed, he flourished. This man who was given little chance of ever being ordained, when he was asked to leave the first seminary where he had enrolled because of his inability to sufficiently grasp the intricacies of ecclesiastical Latin, and was invited to go home. Seminarian Stanley did not lose hope, nor did Bishop Victor Reed, who found another seminary for him and sent him to Mount St. Mary Seminary in Emmitsburg, Maryland, where seminarian Stanley flourished and ultimately was ordained a priest of Oklahoma in 1963. He was ill-equipped, perhaps, for a life of scholarship, but he was very well equipped for the life of a parish priest and the life of a missionary. This man who had barely gotten through seminary, he didn't get through seminary in his first attempt because of his inability to master the languages that were requisite. When he arrived in Guatemala, not only managed to become fully proficient in Spanish, but more proficient than any of the other missionaries on the team in the intricacies of Sutujil, an obscure Mayan dialect. Truth be told, in 1968, there was something in the air that permitted some of the other members of the mission team to kind of look down on Father Rother because he did not seem to be as up-to-date theologically, or maybe quite as sophisticated current talk about what was happening in the church. But Father Rother gave his life and his heart for his people. He was the one of that original mission team that persevered to the end, persevered to the point of shedding his blood. And for that reason, the church honors Father Rother today, among all the members of that team, as a blessed and soon to be, God willing, a saint of the Catholic Church. People often ask me, as I've said frequently, Archbishop, what's it going to take for Blessed Stanley to become Saint Stanley Rother? And my response is always the same. And it's dead serious. I say, man, it's going to take a miracle. Because nothing short of a miracle will allow the church to canonize Blessed Stanley Rother. That's not a fatalistic attitude, because God is full of miracles. God does miracles all the time. And Blessed Stanley Rother, I'm sure, is ready and willing to assist us when we ask for his prayers. The Lord says, he promises Ask and you will receive, right? Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened to you. But in order for the church to receive this miracle, it's up to us to be asking, to be seeking, to be opening doors. And that is the reason, the primary, if not the sole reason, going to the expense and the effort of producing this documentary film honoring the life and witness of Blessed Stanley Rother. We know Blessed Stanley Rother, but the vast majority of the people beyond this church don't know Blessed Stanley Rother. We hope and pray that this effort, this film, will be a way of introducing Blessed Stanley Rother to a much, much larger audience, not only here in Oklahoma, but around the world, so that more and more people will turn to him with confidence, inspired by his virtue and his example, to seek his intercession. Every day, every week, we receive pilgrims here at this shrine from all over who come seeking something, seeking the Lord, seeking to get acquainted with Blessed Stanley. They bring their needs and their petitions and they lay them before him and ask for his intercession. That's what it's going to take on behalf of the whole church, many, many more of us, to turn to Blessed Stanley with confidence. So I appeal to you. This is the call to action that I would issue today on his feast day. Pray, seek, knock, ask for Blessed Stanley Rother's intercession, that the church may be able to honor him one day as a saint of the universal church. He already has a strong local cult here in Oklahoma and in many parts of the United States, but that has to continue to grow. We need to continue to get the word out, and that's what we are here to do today as we honor the memory of this ordinary martyr, this local hero, this parish priest, this missionary martyr of Blessed Stanley Rother. So, my dear friends, thank you for your interest. Thank you especially for your prayers. Ask with confidence. Bring your needs, the needs of your families, your petitions, your needs for healing especially. Before you leave this church today, please go to the chapel behind the sanctuary and pray at the tomb of Blessed Stanley Rother. Lay before him your needs and the needs of your loved ones. Don't be small in your petitions, but be great-hearted. Pray with confidence. Ask for great things. God hears and answers our prayers. So, my dear friends, thank you for coming today. I invite you as well, before you leave the campus, to make a pilgrimage up Tepeyac Hill, seek the intercession of Our Lady Guadalupe and St. Juan Diego, powerful intercessors as well. This is holy ground, holy because each and every day the Eucharist is celebrated here, each and every day because the body of Blessed Stanley Rother is interred here. Honor this sacred ground. Come often to this holy place. Turn to the Lord with confidence and bring your needs before him and pray for the intercession of this ordinary martyr, Blessed Stanley Rother.